Welcome to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Night Nation's only call-in show goes live now.
All right. Hello, Orlando. Hello, Night Nation. How you guys doing? This is Andrew Phegley. This is Knightline at Night. We're live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Bar Law. Assisting injured veterans get the help they deserve. Give Chad a call at 407-599-9036 or visit protectingvets.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. We're taking your calls, though, at 844-580-9326, 844-580-9326. I got Big Ben Stout here with me at Big Social 32. Got Roger Phipps here with me as well at Night Bengal. You can find all the rest of our content on NightlineSports.com. We're obviously talking UCF sports. It's called Knightline. It's Knightline at Night. How you guys doing?
Doing awesome.
I'm excited.
I'm sure you are. Just stay over there on that side of the studio, my friend. Okay, so UCF wins over Boise State very late at night, 36-31. Man, was that ever like kind of a weird deal? I will never forget that one. In fact, I was thinking back, and I was thinking about that Marshall game a few years ago. I don't know if you guys watched that or whatever, but that game was insane. This one had the same feel to me just because of like not being able to get into the stadium. Kind of had a little bit of an air of FAU as well when we were down there and we couldn't get into the stadium. We stood outside forever and ever. So there was some extra time to do some drinking. There was some extra time to do all kinds of crazy stuff. So finally we got in there, though. 9:45, I think, is when kickoff was. And then it turned even more crazy. Down 21-0. DG throws 2 interceptions. Somebody take over.
The first, well, you just mentioned it. I did watch the game from my couch. I was there, and then we had to go home in the first delay. But that being said, watching that first interception, really rough start for DG, and I just think that kind of got the momentum swinging towards Boise's direction really early on. It was a nightmare of a start. Kind of the rest of the team kind of fed off of that interception, that pick six, 100 yards. And thank God that ultimately didn't cost us, because I think that if we were to wind up losing that game, I think that would have been a big contributing factor. So thank goodness he bounced back pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a moment of, we talked about the lines last week and how important they were going to be. And the second piece of this was adjustments. If this was Josh Heupel, I'm not confident we would have won that game. I'm not confident we would have made it close. But clearly, and Gus talked about it, the defense made adjustments, the offense made adjustments, and clearly they were the right ones. So I was very excited about that.
All right, well, speaking of Gus talking about it, here's what he had to say.
Real proud of our team. Didn't look good at the first. I think we got down 21-0. Didn't look good. I think we were down 24-7. They had the ball. Playing at home, there's a lot more pressure on the team than playing on the road. Our guys fought, and we beat a good team. I mean, that's a top 25 team. You'll see them. They'll win a lot of football games. And our guys came and they made plays. Defense stood up when they had to. Offense did the same thing. We made some mistakes. A lot of them are correctable. I think we'll have a chance to be a pretty good team. I really do. That's what I told our guys. And couldn't be more proud. I mean, the way you win games, it means a lot for your team in the future. I'm just proud of our team. We got a chance to be pretty good.
All right, well, let's look at the stats just a little bit. Dylan Gabriel, 25 of 37 for 318 yards, 67.6 completion percentage, averaged 8.6, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, got sacked 3 times. Turned out pretty well for him, actually.
And 64 rushing yards.
Yeah, I was getting there. Let me do this. Isaiah Bowser turned out to be exactly what I thought he was going to be, by the way. Told you.
It astounds me how you thought, like, you act like we were like no, Isaiah Bowser is terrible and you were the only one advocating for him, but I get it. Like, Isaiah Bowser was awesome in his debut.
I talked about him the entire offseason, I think, probably more than anybody else, maybe even more than Big Cat. So I know people were probably like, dude, shut up about Bowser. We know. What
a debut.
Anyway, 170 yards, averaged 5.3, not 53. That would have been awesome. Ran the ball 33 times, I believe, had one touchdown, caught the ball also a couple of times as well. Had, I believe, 220 all-purpose yards. I've got the wrong stuff in front of me, so I'm trying to get the right stuff. Anyway, 220, I believe, all-purpose yards for him. So quite the debut for Bowser. It was awesome. 33 times. You do not see running backs run in college very often unless you are the guy, and there's only one guy. We haven't seen it in a long time.
Not since Kevin Smith, really.
Well, we saw it
anyways.
Yeah, we saw
O'Leary
it a couple
days.
We saw it a couple times with I think we saw it once with Greg McCrae where they ran him 30 times and he came out with something like 175 yards or even more. But I kept clamoring for that. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see them run Greg McCrae like that, and they just never would because we had a bunch of running backs. Johnny Richardson, the other running back, ran 3 times for 19 yards. Actually averaged 6.3, so that was a little bit more than Bowser did, but only 3 attempts. Dylan Gabriel, as Roger said earlier, 12 attempts for 80 yards, netted 64 because of some losses. Jalen Robinson on the receiving side, 6 catches for 140 yards and 1 touchdown, his longest being 47 yards. Also, Brandon Johnson, 5 for 47 yards and a touchdown. Alec Holler, which we hadn't seen much of him, caught 2 for 29. One of those was a touchdown. One of the other ones was 23 yards.
That was a big time touchdown.
It was huge.
It
was huge.
Yeah.
That absolutely got it going. And then Titus. And Titus from Hawaii is what I'm going to call him because I can't say his name.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to try. 3 catches, 19 yards, 1 touchdown, his longest being 8 yards. Got some good pressure from the defense on the quarterback. No sacks. We didn't come out with a technically, in the stats sack, but didn't really have to.
Yeah,
because there was a lot going on there.
The defensive line was every bit as advertised. We hyped them up all off season, and they came through, especially starting this about the midway through the second quarter, and they came through in a big way to hold them to basically negative yards in the second half. That started with the D line, and that was very, very impressive.
Yeah, not only negative yards in the second half, I think, but I believe it was only 20 rushing yards, period.
Correct.
That Boise State had
against a team that does run the ball well in the past. That's real impressive.
Well, they ran the ball well in the first half until they clamped down on the D line. But the stat that really got me: 10 tackles for a loss, right? And they only got 65 plays in, right? So versus our 88, that's 17% of the plays were tackles for a loss. That's huge.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah. So a good showing, very good in the end to only win by 6 points. We should probably real quick go over our numbers from last week and how we picked it because I don't know. I don't know who was the closest.
Yeah, this one's a little bit hard. I would say probably of the 3 of us, it's hard to say, but I'd say Roger was probably the closest. At 48-32 was your prediction, Andrew. Mine was 43-28, so pretty similar. And then 38-28 was Roger, and 36-31 being the final score. That was probably the closest. But we were all thinking it was going to be a little bit more of a comfortable lead of UCF than what actually happened. But hey, a win's a win.
Yeah, if you look at the stats, though, we hammered these guys. If it wasn't for Dylan's 2 interceptions, there would have been no question.
That really was the difference in a close game, but nail biter versus what could have been a blowout.
Yeah, 500 and something total yards versus 200 and something total yards. Was a big deal comparatively. It's why you have to watch the games and not look at the stats. What was it?
573 versus 286.
Thank you. Wasn't quite there yet.
Just goes to show you how these people that do this for a living are pretty good. I've been trying, if it's available, I've been trying to put the team rankings prediction in this spreadsheet too, and it's their prediction was 37-31. So that's different. That's pretty crazy.
Really?
That it was that close. Yeah, it was basically they picked the score.
Wow, that's awesome.
There's experts out there, I guess, they can predict the future.
Yeah, I don't know if any of them would have thought that Dylan Gabriel would come out and throw those 2 interceptions early in the game. We didn't score any points in the first quarter, which was pretty interesting as well. That's looking back at the stat.
Got to be one of the first times that has happened in a while. Yeah, but before that interception, that first one that DG threw, I mean, he was really moving the ball. I mean, the offense was just clicking on all cylinders, and that's what just made that mistake, kind of tough to watch. I mean, he just throws a little bit to the back. I don't know what happened on that throw.
The ball slipped out of his hand.
That's what he said
it in the press conferences. Yeah. So
Mike Bianchi kind of set him up for that a little bit. He kind of was able to agree with him, but I don't know. Well, it was a tough mistake.
But if you watched back, you could tell that it wasn't right and it wasn't where he wanted it to be. He was trying to throw it on the other side of that guy, and he threw it on the wrong side of him. So either way, whatever.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It worked out. He said that he'll learn from his mistakes. And here's also what DG had to say.
He made some unbelievable throws. He can extend plays. He's got a special gift. It's kind of unfortunate right there. We're fixing to put the game away. We got a holding penalty after he's down there, and I think it was 2nd down and 2, and ended up being 2nd and 20. And he's a real special player. He stays calm through the whole deal, and he made some unbelievable deep throw balls.
All right, well, I just played the wrong clip. So here's what that was Gus Malzahn talking about DG. Here's what DG had to say on the game.
Crazy game, first off, but also I wouldn't want it any other way. The goal was always, just finding a way to win. I stated that multiple times, and I'm glad we found a way to win. That's the name of the game. I know we were down 21-0, I think 24-7 at one point. Made a rough throw in the red zone. Took it to the crib, and then I think we were in 12 personnel and threw a pick to the left. And just learning experiences, but for the most part, like I said, if we find a way to win, that's all that matters.
All right, that was the right one. So you heard it right there. He kind of laughed when he was talking about that interception. I think out of embarrassment more than him thinking it was funny. Obviously, he didn't think that. Gus Malzahn also said right there that DG does really well by forgetting about the last plays, forgetting about the when he throws an interception and going back out there and doing it. You were right earlier when you said that they were pushing the ball right down the field. I mean, they were in the red zone. That was in the end zone. The dude ran it back 100 yards. Yep. DG tried to make the tackle there too. I don't know if y'all have rewatched or whatever, but it was pretty impressive. Unfortunately, he got knocked pretty hard there, and then later on in the game as well. He seems to be fine. Got to take a break. Catching up on me. All right, we'll be right back on Knightline at Night.
An auto accident can change your life forever. At Chad Barr Law, we are raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Hi, I'm Chad Barr, and I want you to know that our entire team is dedicated to providing you with the representation you deserve in your greatest time of need. If you or a loved one have been injured in an auto accident, call 407-599-9036 for a free consultation or visit chadbarlaw.com. At Chad Barr Law, our clients come to us in need and leave as family. Offices, Altamont Springs.
Hey, this is Travis Dever, Kai's Real Estate, the Dever team, New Smyrna Beach. Your source for real estate and everything else, New Smyrna Beach. Proud sponsor of Knightline. Call me anytime at 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636. 1636. Let me show you my hometown, New Smyrna Beach, UCF's favorite beach. Go Knights and charge on.
Looking for more out of your Porsche? Look no further than Flat6Motorsports.com. They have the widest selection of aftermarket Porsche parts anywhere in the world. With over 85 product lines and in-depth expertise, Flat6Motorsports.com is your one-stop shop for any Porsche performance needs. Whether you're shopping for intakes, exhausts, suspension, or tuning, they have you covered. Flat6Motorsports.com is the premier Porsche aftermarket specialist. Check them out at Flat6Motorsports.com.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, Andrew Phegley back here on Knightline at Night with you live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Bar Law. Once again, I'm Andrew Phegley, AP_Knightline. Got Big Ben Stout here at Big Social 32 on Twitter. Roger Phipps at Night Bengal. Got a call. Tony is on the line from Orlando. Tony, my friend, what's going on? What's your thoughts this evening?
Hey, what's up? It's Tony C. So I guess I had a statement and then a question. So Coach Gus, Coach Addison were at the Popka football game. Coach T. Will was at the Seminole High School game. And Coach G.J. Klein went all the way up to Georgia to go watch our quarterback for 2020, actually for this class, 2022. And what's crazy is this is the next day on Friday. So these coaches, do they sleep? I mean, what are your thoughts on that? That's just crazy to me that the next day they were already on the recruiting trail.
Well, I mean, I don't think they sleep much during the football season. That's for the off season, sleeping, for sure. And that's awesome that they were out there looking at those guys. I mean, you kind of have to do that these days. It's important to the high school kids to see their future coaches out there and everything else. So I think it's a really big deal.
Yeah, I was actually at one of those games. I went to the Apopka game on Friday night, Apopka versus West Orange, and it was great to hear afterwards. I didn't see him on the sideline, but it was great to hear afterwards that Gus was there. I mean, that's a local football team that has had a ton of success in the past, and a lot of great players have come out of that school, not going to UCF in the past. They've already got one committed from that school, so I'm just excited to see the relationship with the high school coaches that Gus and the staff are building.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, you've heard Gus talk about it. He said he wants a 30-mile radius around the center of Orlando, right? And for him, if he has that built-in advantage that we keep hearing about having Central Florida for recruiting, if he can do that, the only reason he can do that is because we have all of those recruits within that radius. So he'd be crazy not to do that. Now, I did read a story on him. He only sleeps 5 hours a night. Half of that spent at the Waffle House. But he's a hardworking guy, and he's got his guys fired up, and they're smart because they're taking advantage of all the momentum between the two narratives that have been coming this week with the Boise State win and everything else. So really excited for it, and that's exactly what we want them to be doing.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tony, for your call, man. Really appreciate it.
Can I just ask you another thing? Actually, two things real quick. If you don't have time, I can jump off.
Yeah,
so,
go ahead.
I don't know. At that same game, Nakai Martinez was announced that he's injured for the rest of the season. And then the other thing I was going to ask you, if you can answer it later, is who do you think is going to be in the UCF division for Big 12? If there's an East and West division, what are the teams you would project are going to be in the UCF division?
Yeah, I saw your question for Ask Knightline for the podcast later, but we can go into that as well. We have a break coming up, so we'll probably get to that later, but we will definitely talk about it. Thank you, my man. Really appreciate it.
You got it. Bye-bye.
All right, well, Martinez hurt for the rest of the season. That's kind of a bummer. Tore his ACL or something, I believe.
Yeah, I think that actually happened week one, the week prior. It didn't happen in that game on Friday night, but yes, it is unfortunate to hear that he hurt himself. Hopefully he bounces back great.
Yeah,
for his
you were out
freshman
there
year.
and were kind of confused because you didn't see him.
I was, yeah. He was supposed to be number 21, and I was looking at a 21 that looked nothing like his picture. So I found out later that so that other guy I saw looked like him was actually him in street clothes. So yeah. Well, unfortunately,
sports. It's high school sports, and you don't get the information that you would on, college sports and stuff. Not nearly as much talk, unfortunately, because high school football is cool. I really need to make it out to a high school game this year. I haven't gone in a long time.
It was a blast. I hadn't been in a while either. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I want to go to a Seminole game because it's right here close. So that will probably be where I go, but maybe I'll make it over there to Apopka or someplace else. All right, getting ready to take another break here. So we're not going to really get into anything else. Again, UCF 36-31 over the Boise State Broncos.
If you haven't figured it out yet, I love Tijuana Flats. I would love them even if they weren't a partner with us on the Knightline Sports Network. They have all kinds of great Tex-Mex food, and it's fresh, by the way. Made to order burritos, tacos, enchiladas, chimichangas, quesadillas, bowls, nachos, and taco salads. And if you haven't tried the queso, you are completely missing out. It is the best queso that I've ever had in my life. Absolutely hands down. And the sauce bar that they have, everything from wild to mild in there. Absolutely awesome stuff. Not only do I love the food at Tijuana Flats, but I love the company, a UCF-born company. And they give back to the community with the Justin Queso Foundation. So head to your local Tijuana Flats. Tex-Mex for everyone. Hey Jeep Wrangler owners, have you ever sat in your office at work and watched the rain just pour into your Jeep because the weatherman said that there was a 0 chance of rain? Or you put your doors back on because there was a 100% chance and then not a drop of rain fell? Well, there's a company out there that can help take the worry away and give you the peace of mind to be without your doors. The company's called Life Without Doors. They make waterproof rain curtains and dash covers for Wranglers. Life Without Doors is there to help make the decision to leave the doors at home an easy one. Find out more at lifewithoutdoors.com.
Spice up your company with homemade marketing services from Tasty Gravy Creative. Tasty Gravy serves up the menu of budget-friendly marketing, graphic design, and public relations services customized to your specific goals. Co-owned by a UCF graduate, Tasty Gravy can help refresh your brand, strengthen your online presence, or reinforce your company's message. Contact Tasty Gravy for help with your website, social media, marketing, advertising materials, and more. Visit tastygravy.com.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, Andrew Phegley back with you here on Knightline at Night, live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barr Law, assisting injured veterans get the help they deserve. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036, or visit protectingvets.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. We're also taking your calls, 844-580-9326, 844-580-9326, or you can use the open mic feature in the WDBO app. Talking UCF sports, talking UCF football, of course. I'm, again, Andrew Phegley, AP_Knightline on Twitter. Got Big Ben Stout here with me at Big Social 32 on Twitter. Got Roger Phipps as well with us at Night Bengal on Twitter. You can find all the rest of our content on nightlinesports.com. So we've talked a little bit about the game. UCF win over the Boise State Broncos 36-31 in favor of UCF. Let's talk a little bit more about the game, and then we'll get into the other news, because I know that that's going to take a long time. I've talked most of the show so far about the game. I want to hear what you guys thought.
Well, I just was going to say one more thing. We were talking about stats earlier, and you read out Jalen Flash Robinson's stats of 6 receptions, 140 yards, 23.3 yard average, and 1 touchdown. Obviously, extremely impressive stats. But we even heard the clip from Gus talking about Dylan on the great conversion on 2nd and 20. As long as I'm recalling it correctly, I think it was a great catch by Jalen. He just had he showed up in huge moments all game. He really stepped into that number one receiving role, showed that he was the man. Bowser was incredible from the running back perspective, but I think Flash Robinson gets he should get a lot of kudos because he played a heck of a game.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and from my seat, I mean, I know I keep going back to this, but I'd like to talk about adjustments in the lines, right? So the first half obviously did not go well for us. We either on defense or offense. Gus said that he was looking at defenses that they were not prepared for. They were were going with a single high and basically crashing everybody down and blowing up our plays, which is why you saw the sacks early and the hurries early. And then they finally started connecting, and how important those receptions are. They started connecting on the long ball, which is what they were set up to play for in the first 10 to 20 plays. Once those started connecting and we started catching those, then what ended up happening was it opened up the underneath game and it opened up the running game. And so then we started pounding with Bowser. And once that happened, it was over with. So, the big thing was Gus made an adjustment based on what he was given that first half, and the defense switched from playing more cover to really using that strength, that defensive line, and overwhelming that offensive line that we had been talking about all week, and using that strength to our advantage, and that paid off. You start getting that feeling, you start getting that vibe, you start seeing plays go your way, and then all of a sudden you're in the driver's seat. And what I'm most impressed with from Dylan this week, this was the first game where we saw him truly come through, and push through a really, really challenging situation and lead the team through that. The body language was still good on the sideline, and they just looked focused and they looked like, we're going to win this game. And that's what I remember from the 2017 team. No matter what the situation was, they were calm, focused, and they were ready to go win. And I saw that again this week.
No panic on the sideline, right? I mean, they got a nightmare of a start and just they seemed determined, and no panic, no bad body language. That was great to see. And that's from Gus all the way down.
Yeah, that's coaching.
Yes.
And you saw it completely during this game. I think somebody said at the beginning, Heupel, we wouldn't have won this game under Heupel. And we've gotten in situations not even this bad and lost games under Heupel. So
right.
I could only imagine what would have happened in this situation. I want to respond a little bit to that they saw defenses that they didn't think that they would see. It's always hard, especially when there's a first-year head coach that you've never seen be a head coach before. You had seen him as a defensive coordinator at Oregon, where he was the Boise head coach. He's not the defensive coordinator. There's another guy doing that. So it wasn't his defense. So, I mean, I'm not shocked that they didn't see the defense that he had shown before when he was coaching. So that's one of those things that you kind of have to, you just kind of chalk up to it being a first game, it being the first time you faced this team or whatever, so, but obviously, they were looking and had practiced something different. So
yeah,
it definitely takes time to adjust, and they adjusted perfectly. So
yeah, we talked a lot in the offseason about Gus raising the level of the program, right? Maturity level, preparation, all of that. It all came to fruition in that game. Horrible start, but really the adjustments and the poise was fantastic.
Once we scored and got the momentum on our side, I don't think that I had a doubt after that we were going to win that game. Yeah. I really didn't. I was very distraught early in the game, and we were all texting back and forth, and I just wasn't sure what was going on. I was sitting in the cabana with my friends, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go up to the very top where I can see the entire field. I want to see all of this, and just stand up there and not talk to anybody, just, chill and watch the game. And it all started to come back. I think the halftime adjustments, whatever was said in the locker room, I've got clips later on that we'll play in the podcast that happens after this about all that stuff. But if you go and find the press conferences from this week, everybody talks about the adjustments that were made and what was said at halftime. And I think that was a really big deal and needed to be done, obviously. And the right things were said at halftime, which is extremely important. We always used to think, what did George O'Leary do, at halftime? He must have yelled at him because they would come out and play flat in the second half. Well, it wasn't like that this time. So happy for that. All right, we have to get to this other news that is coming towards UCF in the next couple of days. It's said the Big 12 Conference it's been said, and I will keep saying it's been said until the ink is signed, because these things can be, there can be all kinds of things said and then nothing happens, or something the opposite happens. But it has been said that the Big 12 Conference is selecting 4 schools, BYU, Houston, UCF, and Cincinnati, to join the conference. Happening extremely fast. Although the Texas and Oklahoma leaving happened really fast too. So I think that this is the only thing the Big 12 can do to survive. And I've said all along that I really wasn't too excited about UCF joining the Big 12. I obviously want UCF to join a Power 5 conference, just not the Big 12, because of the stability issues more than anything. Also, my alma mater is the Big 12 school, and I'm going to have a hard time. It's my alma mater. So especially if we're in the same division of the conference, it's going to be really rough for me. So,
real quick on the stability, what you said is stability issues. I think a lot of those stability issues were stemming from the uncertainty around Oklahoma and Texas and the disruption that they had. They had their own network, Texas does, and all that stuff. And kind of they looked like they were the kings of that conference, and they acted like it. I think now that they're leaving and these 4 new schools are coming in that all have, bring a lot to the table, I think you're going to see a stable conference that's going to move forward into the future.
Well, I mean, there's a few things to consider. One, when you mentioned speed, from everything that I've read, the goal is to get them in by 2023, so they never dip down to an 8-team conference. In order to do that, give people time to give the AAC sufficient notice. That means they're having to get this thing done pretty quickly. In addition to that, as far as stability of the conference is concerned, I think we're at a point. UCF has always been in a conference that's unstable in some respects. Everybody's always been trying to climb to the next highest rung on that ladder. If we get into the Big 12, the numbers that have been bandied about in these articles has been $18 to $19 million per year. That's huge for UCF, and it gives us an opportunity and another platform to consistently play Power 5 schools. If we make the most of it like we have been, if there is another round of contraction, because it's not really expansion, it's contraction, then I think UCF has an opportunity to shine on the big stage, and it gives us, again, more legitimacy for those other conferences if that ends up happening.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, great about the money and everything else. Just, who's going to be the next one to leave from that conference? That conference has been around for a very long time. Not the Big 12, but the Big 8 before that.
Right.
Big 12, I think, was 95, 94. It was official, and then 96 is when they started playing. I remember that because I was playing football at that time. 96 was my last year. But then Nebraska left, Colorado left, Texas A&M left after that, and now Texas and Oklahoma. They haven't been good at securing their membership and keeping teams together, keeping the conference together and all that stuff. So I just worry about that. And then they're going to have to renegotiate their contract, obviously. I mean, that's one of those things that's coming up anyway. So, with adding new teams to the Power 5, Autonomous 5, whatever you want to call it, that puts, I don't know if that makes your conference stronger or a little bit weaker having new members. You know what I'm saying? In that negotiation, as far as as far as money from the television networks. They could say that Texas and Oklahoma aren't in it now and these other schools are, but I mean, we know that Cincinnati's a fairly good market. UCF is in a great market for television. Houston is an incredible market.
Like top 5 or something.
Yeah.
Like Houston is,
So BYU, not in the greatest television market. And then BYU has the issues that we've talked about in the past with, they can't play games on Sunday if they wanted to, and there's other restrictions because of their religion and things. It's a religious school, so I guess TCU is as well. But that
is the reason why not only the success on the field or on the court or whatever, those 3 teams you mentioned outside of BYU. I mean, for the first time, that they're entering they're gaining TV markets that they just don't have in the Big 12 right now. They're all small, smaller markets and all that. But you bring in Orlando, you bring a Houston, you bring a Cincinnati. I mean, those are 3, top TV markets that certainly they don't really have in the current Big 12. So I think that was part of the attraction for those schools to be joining.
Well, the big impetus was to keep the Power 5, quote unquote, Power 5 status when they go into this, right? So there's that big legislative meeting that's going to be in November that kicks off. And, there was a possibility that would change. But by all accounts, what everybody's been saying with these 4 additions, because they're strong football members, they'll stay at Power 5.
All right, we got to take a break. We'll be right back with you on Knightline at Night.
Hey, it's Tony Marino from Orlando's Evening News, and you're listening to Knightline at Night with my boy Andrew Phegley here on WDBO.
I'm Jeff Allen. Join me each and every week on the Knightline Sports Network for the AAC Report. We bring you in-depth coverage of each school in football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, golf, tennis, and more, as well as bring you insider interviews and focus in on the biggest games and news of the week. That's all right here each week on the AAC Report, only on the Knightline Sports Network.
Welcome. This is a promo for the Take a Left at Albuquerque podcast, new to the Knightline Sports Network. You should listen to it. I say things like this.
We need to stop blaming Jerry because we would do the exact same thing if we owned the Dallas freaking Cowboys. Do you know how much fun it is to own the Dallas Cowboys?
My guests will say things sometimes like this.
It's the Lord of the Flies thing that happens when they don't understand that things are wrong, spoiler alert, until Piggy dies.
Lord of the Flies has been out for like 100 years. I don't even know.
Sorry to everyone at home who I spoiled the book for. A book's been out for like 90 years or something.
And sometimes, rarely though, I'll say really stupid things like this. If they don't make it out of the West and the Raptors get to the finals, I will go on either this show or whoever's show and say that Kawhi Leonard is overrated because I have too much evidence of it. New episodes drop every Friday with me and some of my good friends right here on the Knightline Sports Network.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline at Night with you. I'm Andrew Phegley, live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barlaw. Got Big Ben Stout here with me and Roger Phipps. We're talking UCF sports, a 36-31 win over the Boise State Broncos on Thursday night. Talked a lot through the rest of the show already. Gonna go now to our friend Jeff that does the AAC report on the Knightline Sports Network. You can find that at knightlinesports.com, and he's going to tell us what the rest of the American Conference did this weekend.
In addition to UCF's big win over Boise, here's how the rest of the Americans shook out. On Thursday, East Carolina was defeated by Appalachian State 33-19. Tulsa lost to FCS UC Davis 19-17. And South Florida whitewashed by North Carolina State 45-0. On the Saturday slate, game rescheduled from Thursday, Temple was blown out by Rutgers 61-14. Tulane fierce rally but comes up short against Oklahoma 40-35. That game moved from New Orleans to Norman because of after effects of Hurricane Ida. Cincinnati keeps the victory bell, blowing out Miami 49-14. Navy fell victim to Marshall 49-7. Houston blew a 2-touchdown lead, losing to Texas Tech 38-21. Memphis with a big rout over Nichols 42-17. And SMU whipped up on Abilene Christian 56-9. Tanner Mordecai with a school record 7 touchdown passes. We will recap those games, get you set for week 2, and talk about how the Big 12 expansion impacts the American. I'm Jeff Allen. Join me for this week's AAC report only on the Knightline Sports Network.
All righty. Well, thank you, Jeff Allen. You can find his show, like I said, nightlinesports.com or anywhere you can find podcasts. That's kind of what we do. The American does not seem strong this year.
Not a good showing, huh? Besides the top 3 teams or 4 teams, right?
Yeah. True freshman quarterback in Memphis did a good job. Obviously, SMU rolled, and so did Cincinnati, which I hate to say, but I am glad that the Cows over there got put in their place. They're going to be irrelevant here in a couple of years anyway, so not that they're already irrelevant. Anyway, we need to get into our predictions for the upcoming game, and we're going to do that in the Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week. Welcome to the Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week. Visit TijuanaFlats.com for takeout or delivery, or visit your local Tijuana Flats. Tex-Mex for everyone. All right, I did go to Tijuana Flats this week, by the way, on Taco Tuesday, and it was absolutely awesome. So if you have a chance, get out there to Tijuana Flats and tell them Andrew from Knightline sent you. We're going to start with Roger this week for your prediction of UCF against Bethune-Cookman, 6:30 p.m. on Saturday, September 11th on ESPN+.
And I'll be there for that one as well. So for me this week, I'm going to go with 52-14 UCF over Bethune-Cookman. The only reason I don't go more is because I believe that our second stringers get out there and do a little damage. So excited about this one, but 52-14.
All right, Ben?
Similar score. I think one garbage touchdown for BCC in the late in the game. I have 52-7 UCF.
Okay, I'm going to go a little bit higher. I think we need to make a statement right now with the way that things are. There's some top 25 teams that lost, quite a few of them. So I think we're going to make a statement here, and we're at least going to score 60 points. So I'm going to go 62-7. 62-7 is my – we're going to give them one. May give them two, I don't know. But I just feel like the statement needs to be made when a team in a lower division comes into your house. You need to put them to bed quickly. So I think that's what we'll do personally. So,
unlike some other schools this week.
Yeah, well, a lot of them the teams lost to a lot of teams they shouldn't have. If we would have lost to Boise, I would have kind of felt the same way. So. Luckily that did not happen, but we've got football now, for the foreseeable future. After this game, Louisville, and I'll be going to Louisville. So we'll have to figure out how we're going to get the show done, by the way. All right. We'll be back next week on Sunday, 5 to 6 PM. I'm Andrew Phegley. Go Knights.
Charge on.